Hey guys, today I'm going to demonstrate 6 moves that I believe every woman over 50 should be incorporating into their weekly exercise regimen, improving balance, coordination, core stability, and getting that heart rate up for cardiovascular benefits. Here we go. I'm going to show you first and then walk through explaining each movement with modifications. All right, guys, that was a quick run through. I did 5 to 6 reps of each movement. What I would recommend you trying is your first run through, do 5 to 6 reps of each so you can feel out if you need a modification or if you're gonna be doing the full version or if you're even adding in weights for some of the movements. Do 5 or 6, go through each movement to figure out what level you're at, and then decide, all right, I'm gonna do 10 reps of each movement, one time through. That's one round. Try that, and then if you feel like you're ready for a longer workout, do 2 to 3 more rounds. And that would be a great quick home workout that you can really fit in anywhere. You just need a small space. You don't need a crazy amount of time. You don't need crazy equipment, and you can get your heart rate up, you can get your metabolism going, and you can get in a great workout. So let's start with the first movement. We did a body weight squat with a knee lift. So I'm gonna go through a few different modifications on this as well, but let me explain the full version. You're gonna go down into a squat where your thighs are parallel to the floor, and then you're going to raise up, squeezing the glutes at the top. Your hands are set about counter height, and you're gonna raise each knee to touch your hands. That's the full version. For even more of an advanced version, you can raise the hands higher to tap the knees higher. You're gonna have to squeeze that tushy more to elevate the knee. You'll see it from the side. We're gonna squat down, come up, elevate, elevate. Now a modification for you would be not to go quite so low in your squat. I really recommend that you ease into advanced versions of movements, especially if you're new to working out, you're beginner level fitness. So when we do the squat, to ease into that more advanced version, we're gonna do a partial squat. We're gonna come down and come up. Even if it's right here and come up. We're working into that full depth of a squat. Also, you can modify the knee raise. You can lower your hands and do a smaller range of motion knee raise. One more modification. You can take any chair or seat in your living room and use that as a reference point for your squat. So you're gonna sit on your chair for your first rep. Make sure your feet are placed underneath your knees. You're gonna push through the heels, squeezing the tushy up. Knee raise, knee raise. Now when you come back down, if you are using an assisted chair, I want you to try not to let your body weight fall onto the chair. You're gonna lower your hips, shoot the hips back and down, and as soon as you touch that chair, then you're gonna come up and do your knee raise. Lower down, don't sit back down. We just wanna gently touch, up, up. Slowly lowering yourself down. As soon as you touch, come back up and up. Sound great? Okay, our next movement is a forearm plank. You saw me demonstrate a full forearm plank, but I want to show you a modification as well. You can do a forearm plank, but on your knees. So we're gonna go on our forearms, our elbows underneath our shoulders. This would be a full plank, but you can drop down onto the knees to do a plank here as well. Now, if you're feeling like this is too easy, I invite you to tuck your toes under, extend the legs, and see how long you can hold that plank position. The next movement is called a bird dog. Hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. You're gonna take your opposite arm, opposite leg, bring it up to parallel, but you're gonna try to reach for the walls in front and behind you. Really reach. It's not just about coming straight up, it's about going out. You're elongating the spine. And then with control, you're coming back down, and then taking the opposite arm, opposite leg, and reaching towards those opposite walls, really stretching and keeping the core nice and tight, returning back to that starting position. Now a modification, that does take a lot of balance as well, balance and coordination. So a modification would be just doing one arm at a time, really reaching forward towards that wall and slowly lowering back to starting position. Reaching towards that wall, slowly back towards starting position. Reaching towards that back wall, squeezing the glute, keeping the hips nice aligned with the floor, returning back to starting position, and the final leg, keeping the pelvis nice and squared up with the floor. We don't want to do a ton of twisting like this. Reach, and then return to starting position. So those are a few modifications for that bird dog, and then when you feel comfortable and ready, try to do the opposite arm, opposite leg at the same time. Next, we're going to roll into the single leg glute bridge. Many of you are probably familiar with a regular glute bridge. So I'm going to demonstrate that first. And a regular glute bridge with both feet down, that would be your modification, your starting point. And then when you're feeling more confident and you're ready to try a little advancement, you're going to raise one leg off the floor into a single leg glute bridge. So we want to bring our heels back close to our booty. And our hands will be down on the floor to stabilize us. And we're going to drive through the heels, squeezing the glutes, and then return back down. Drive through the heels, squeezing the glutes, return back down. Now we're going to raise one leg and squeeze through that supporting leg. If you can't get a full extension with your leg, you can also just keep your leg at tabletop or at parallel with the floor. So as long as it's just slightly up, if you can do a full extension, great. Squeeze and come up. So again, just slightly raise it off the ground, squeeze and come up. And as you become more flexible, you can try to extend that leg up towards the sky, squeeze the glutes and come up. So that's going to be your single leg glute bridge. Or again, the modification would be both legs down and just a full glute bridge. Squeezing the tushy at the top of the movement is the important part. Next, we're going to do a kneeling push-up. Now, you saw me demonstrate a full push-up. You can definitely do that, but I recommend easing into any advanced movement, especially in your warm-up. So even if you can do a full push-up, do a few warm-up sets at 50% or kneeling. So we're going to start off with a kneeling push-up. Our hands are just outside the shoulders, our elbows are tucked in. We're nice in a straight line. We're coming down and pressing up. Coming down, pressing up. If you want to try the full push-up, you can extend the legs, come down and press up, press up. A modification too would not be to go so low. So we can come down and press up. Come down and press up. And then our last but not least movement was a cross behind lunge. It's also called a curtsy lunge. And then you can add in, I just threw in an air punch, just to make the movement a little bit more complex, to add one more thing for you to focus on. So we're gonna start this movement off. Again, we're always progressing into the advanced version. So if you have not done this before, we wanna start off with a single leg reverse lunge. We're You're gonna step back and down into a lunge. Step back, down into a lunge. Now you may not have the balance to do that, and that's totally fine. So you're gonna set up close to some sort of piece of furniture, and you're going to step back into a lunge, step back into a lunge. And the thing to be aware of is you don't want that knee to go too far past that toe. We don't want our knees to come this way, we want to sink straight down. So here, see how my knee is pretty much lined up with my toe? Step back into a lunge. The curtsy aspect, or the step behind, would be the next progression. So we're going to step behind and then lunge. A lot of tension in that glute. Step back up. Step behind, drop down, the tension's in that glute, come back up. So this is a step behind lunge, or a curtsy lunge. Now once you've got that, we're gonna add our third progression in there, and that's gonna be a punch. Now you can use small dumbbells, or you can just, I would recommend initially starting off with nothing in your hands, just pretending to throw a punch. Tuck your elbows in, we wanna protect the shoulders. We're gonna step into a curtsy lunge, balancing, come up, punch, punch. Curtsy lunge, up, punch, punch. Curtsy lunge, up, punch, punch. And as you progress, that's when you could use dumbbells to give yourself a little bit more of an upper body workout in this movement. Those are the 6 moves. I recommend, once you nail down which progression of the movement you're going to be executing in your workout, do 3 rounds, 10 reps each round. Let me know how that goes.